Hi everyone, welcome to Callie's Creative Dreams Studio. Sorry, I am dealing with a headache today, but I wanted to make sure that this video got recorded so that it would go up on time. Today I decided to work with 3 items using book pages. And the first one, I got the idea for these elements from watching a video by Maria Miscellany, and I will link that video down below, about using our decorative edge scissors. Now, how many of us have these in our stash and aren't using them? So after watching her, I got out my book pages and I got out the wavy scissors, which mine didn't come out quite like hers did, I think because I didn't offset them, but she made like a rick-rack out of them using the wavy scissors. But I really liked these, and this is what I chose to use. Now, we had 2 scissors that we could use, and then Julie threw in our fabric scissors. So instead of this being my pink little ribbon and fabric shears, I went with this one, and then I've got this one, and then I've got my fabric scissors. So we are making 3 items today, starting with these. And what I wanted to show you was, these are really simple and can be used for lots of things. And they were easy to get to. Some books have wider borders than others, and it's all in how the book is set. But what I found was, I get too many fingers in the holes, was I started out by trimming off the edge. These book pages were taken from a Reader's Digest. And you just kind of have to take your time, but you get some really amazing edges. It's kind of like those border punches where you have to line things up. Well, once you make one cut, then you need to move your scissors forward and line them up in your track and cut again. So I had cut a bunch of these off, cutting the borders off. And I've got all these paper trims now that I can work with. So I've got those. And then I was going back and I was just chopping off the border here. I wasn't cutting off the bottom edge, just the top of that one. And let me go ahead and trim this one off really quick, because what I want to show you is how to do those squares. Most of them, when you get your borders cut off, you're left with this inside portion that when you count down, now with the other one, there was one book, I've not measured it on this one, but we're going to give it a try. But if you count down 10 lines, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This one looks like it's going to be 12. Because the typesetting from different publishers are different. Remember, these Reader's Digest are older. When you cut down a set number of lines, fold it over, and then cut again off on the fold, you have 2 perfect squares from off of your book page. So you'll just, depending on how your book is set, you'll just need to get a feel for how those, for that dimension. So we have 2 of these to work with. And that's what we're going to play with today. I love the vintage tone of this book page. Let's see, where is my, I've got my samples stacked over here so we can do them. And we're using, this is what we're going to make first, and this will be a great accent on a corner tuck, or even a top split, or even a top. You could move it anywhere along your book page and use it for a tuck, or just as a page embellishment, or add it to a tag. So that's what we're going to work with first. Let's see, that was this one. Now, my Reader's Digest had some really pretty pictures in it. So what I've done is I've taken this. I have also taken a strip of my fabric from one of the fabrics that I had chosen. And I'm going to pull some of the threads out of the way here. This is another one of those where don't throw your threads away, because then you've got these for your messy thread element as well to add to things. So I just wanted to get some of the threading out of my way. got a fan going over here, so I'm trying not to let the fan blow everything away. And then I have to take just a little snip so I can get this to tear. And I'm going to tear this in a couple of different places because this has got a smoother edge to it. So then we'll just rip those apart, just like that. Get those out of the way. Now this element is really super simple. If I had had one of it as being one of my elements, I might have put a button in the center of this. Instead, I have, where'd that punch go? I moved it. Oh, I just had that punch in my hand. This is the Blossum Builder Punch from Stampin' Up. If it is still available, I will link it down below, but you've got 3 different petals, or 2 different petal sizes. You've got this larger center, you've got the smaller center, and then you've got a leaf that makes great flowers. And what I'm going to do is I am using out part of my book. Now I want to save this gal here for a tag. I'm going to go after these darker colors over here. So I'm just going to chop that off so I can get to these darker colors. And we can use those pieces later as well. And then I'm just going to finagle this into that dark tone. Try and get as much of the black as I can. The reason I want the black is because I want the contrast against that book page. And then I've got some of that book page there as well. So I'll go back through and I will cut another one of those flowers using just the book page. Pull it out of the way, and that's all we need from that one. Now I did use another center there, and this is also from a retired set of Stampin' Up that has the smaller one. It's just like the one on here, but I don't have to try getting into there and getting as much, losing as much real estate on the others. Now this has got a color behind it too. Where did I just do with that piece of paper? There it is. That has the picture. And I'm going to come back and let's see. Let's go right in here and do that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, and I'm just going to give me a swirl of my glue in the center. You can square this up or you can turn it cockeyed. I was turning mine in a little bit of a sideways, just again for that added interest. And I'll stick this one in the center. I'm sticking to things today. I really don't want that petal to lay down. I want just that glue in just the center. I lost my... This is where a toothpick comes in handy, where you can just do that and lay it down. And then I'm going to lay another one in there. And I'm using the Tombow Mono Liquid adhesive. Now see, I've got more picture on the back of this one, but I want the book page. And I want to set it offset from the other petals, because that will give me instant dimension. Just like that. Twist it just a little bit. And then I'm going to add this little pop of color. Now, once I get the jewel on there, I lose some of this pop of color. I got the jewel from, this is part of that gold beaded garment that I had gotten from my sister. And I'm just coming back in. I just want to clip off just that center bead, and I'm using my fabric scissors to come back in. Now this is where, if I'd have been able to use more than just the 3 scissors I'd chosen, the smaller fabric scissors would have been perfect for this, but this works. Ah! Flying glue bottle. And then we can go like that. Lay this one in the center. And see, with that extra trim on there, I almost didn't need that other center on there, but we're going to leave it set. And it'll take it a little bit to set. I don't want to mess with it. But there's element number 1 of our book page elements. And I'm going to set these off to the side to dry. Next we have a bookmark. Now I told you earlier when I talked about the kit that I'm using these for pockets in my journal, and I have lots of these in different sizes, different brands. And the pocket measures 1.5 by 4 3/4. So what I did was I used part of my Belvita biscuit box. These are my staple in the morning with my coffee. I have a package of these with my coffee when I first get up in the morning. And they're white on the inside, so they're great for tags. So I have cut this one 1.5 by 4 3/4. I used my corner rounder on my detailed trio to round off the bottom corners, because remember, if you've got rounded corners going into pockets, especially deep pockets, your tag will go in easier. And then this one, I had already set this one out, but I think we're going to go ahead and do this one. And all I'm going to do is make sure that I glue that first off right side down to cover that. So I'm going to smear my glue all over the back side of this, or what would be the printed side of my box. And kind of lay that in there. And if I hold this up to the light, you can see through it and see your image and tell how to line that up. And I managed to get that lined up just perfectly. And I'm going to leave that dry for just a minute before I mess with it. We're also going to use the scallop tag topper punch from Stampin' Up. And let's see if I can do this without, no, maybe not. This was the fabric where, when they glued the book pages into the book, this is at the top and the bottom of the spine. And so I took one of these. I'm going to save this one and use for a page tab. I pulled this one and I made it the top of the page topper. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out really quick. This one is a matter of just getting your image glued to your piece of chipboard or cardstock or whatever you're using for your tag base. And see, I've got this here I can still use on something on within the journal, so I'm not going to throw that away. Same with these, they're great for punching things out. We'll set those aside. And then we're going to set this in the triple banner punch. Now I turn my punches upside down, and because I want to make sure I don't go too deep into her head, I'm going to go ahead and put her to where she's upright. I don't want to cut her eyes off. And then you can see where you're lining that up in within your punch. And that will take care of that. And then a little trick that I found this morning, if you're not going all the way around and you want to be able to staple that in place, if you take a mini glue dot, lost my toothpick, and that one didn't work. The toothpick doesn't work very well. But if you take that and add a little bit of glue dot to the back, this will hold your piece of ribbon in place. I'm doing this without my glasses, so this will be fun. That will hold that piece of ribbon in place long enough for you to come back with your punch or with your stapler. And then you can line your staple up from the front and know that tag's not going to go anywhere. And then we've caught it from the back. And that's all there is to the tag. So we've got 2 of those made. And then last, well, you know, I'm doing this so there has to be a hidden paper clip somewhere with these book pages. So I have one made. Set these off to the side. So I have this one. And again, I used my zigzaggy paper edgers. I also used some of my Tim Holtz packaging that was in my kit. And some of that leftover wallpaper trim from, and actually these two pieces that I'm using today are left from what I cut off the other day when I did the envelope, or the calendar envelopes. So we've got those. And I've used some of the dress as both the tag top, or the top of the paper clip, and for the center of the flower. Now this flower, I used a smaller punch. This one's from Marvy. And that's the one I've used for this. So I started out with a piece of that book paper, and I didn't trim it. Yeah. I left it so I could go back and put it on here. So I'm just going to squill this down and get the glue on here. I've managed to take a dose of ZzzQuil last night because I just knew it was going to be a hard night to get to sleep because I was awake. What I didn't realize when I took it was that it was almost midnight. So it was a hard getting up this morning. And then when I went back to bed, I woke up with a sinus headache that has not left me yet. Okay. And then so I can see the front of my book here. Now this is a little soft with the glue, so the scissors are arguing with me. They're about due for a sharpening. And you know, to sharpen your scissors, your craft scissors, cut aluminum foil with them for a little bit. Run a few passes through it with the aluminum foil, and the aluminum foil will sharpen that up. I came across a video the other day where the gal was talking about it, and she was calling it tinfoil. I had not heard it called tinfoil in years, but because originally it was made from tin before it became aluminum, thanks to the Reynolds Wrap Company. Okay, so there's that. Now I didn't like this stark white, so I toned it down a little bit. And when I did the sample, it was a little too stark for me. So what I decided I wanted to do was just use a dauber and just brush the edges a little bit on this other one. And this is a retired color called Close to Cocoa from Stampin' Up. And I need to lay a book page over here to catch some of the mess. Actually, no, I don't. That's what the Tim Holtz mat's for, isn't it? This will let you slide in from the outside in to get the corner of your page. And once you've daubed and done this, then you can go back and lightly swipe, and that'll tone that down a little bit and see the difference in the color between using the dauber and going directly from the ink pad. Okay, then before we put this in place, I want to go ahead and glue this down on my piece of the paper from Tim Holtz. Now for this one I used a Stampin' Up punch, the everyday label, and I believe we still sell it. If we do, I will put that link down below. And see how I've not put that all the way over to the edge. I still left a little bit of that Tim Holtz packaging color on the outside. And I'm probably not going to get in here to get this off very well, but we'll try. There we go. Now for this one, I did go back and use a piece of this fabric, but I used just a teeny tiny piece. I thought I had another teeny tiny piece laying here, but I don't see one. My desk is such a mess today. I didn't bother to clean it up before we got started. And it shows, so I'm going to do that there and rip that down. Give it a start and get that down. Get some more of my threads out of the way. go. Now I used this one and I punched from the book pages itself, from the border edges, and I punched 2 of these. I don't know if I can get 2 out of this one or not. We'll see. I don't think I'm, well, maybe I can. It's all about positioning. And I'm not letting the words show on this one. When I put it down, I'm putting the blank side of that up so that I don't have the wording. So then we're going to go ahead and come back here, put a little dot of our glue, smush that into place. My fat little fingers. Lost my toothpick again. There it is. Because I want to use a toothpick to push that down. If I do that, I don't get the glue on the tips of my fingers. It's become an issue. Now you could put anything in the center here. You could use a sequin. You could use a different color, just a single 1/8 or 1/4 inch punch from a different color. I wanted to bring in more of this fabric thing that we were using. And so what I did was I pulled out, cut around. Ooh, that gold braid is pretty. You may have to use it too. Let's just cut this out of the way. Really like that gold braid. Is anybody else liking that? May have to put that at the top of one of them. Find a long piece of this to add to my tassel. I'll have to think about that. Okay. Some of this has got like a wire in it. It's interesting. But I just went back and I just cut out one of these little beaded items here. And I tried not to cut them, because when I cut them away from the fabric, they want to come apart. And I don't want them to come apart till I get them in the glue. Then the glue will keep them together for me. Now see that one? I got a little bit heavy on the glue. But it will dry clear. But it will also let me squish this in and kind of hold that together. And this, I have a feeling I'm going to get glue on the end of my finger whether I want to or not. I should have put my dauber on here. Just don't want that to go away. Thought I had one of my finger gloves here that I could press that down into with. Apparently I've lost it too. It's just one of those let's see what we can lose days. Don't want that to come up just yet. Okay, while that's setting, I'm going to go ahead and put my paper clip on. Remember, when you're doing paper clips, you want to glue the short side to the inside there. And I'm going to add the glue real heavy around the paper clip itself and in the center. And then I'm going to come back and add the glue. I should have roughed this up a little bit first. See if I can do that without disturbing that bead. Remember how we talked Monday about roughing up this before you try to apply any glue to it? That worked. That worked. Because when you rough it up, it lets gives your glue a chance to have something to adhere to a little better. And I'm going to be a little bit more generous with that glue right in the center. Now, before I glued, when I glued this earlier, I realized I should have done something else first, and I just did it again. But I'm going to go ahead and let this get glued into place. I'll be glad when that glue holds. That little bead, it didn't give me the trouble when I did the first one. The second one, it wants to fight with me. I want to make sure that glue is in there. And then I said what I should have done first was I took a piece of this, and I thought I had a piece pre-cut for this, but apparently not. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down to about there. Trim this down. I tried tearing this stuff and it does not tear well. It wants to just bunch up. And then I'm just using the toothpick to push that through that little opening on that paper clip. And then I can come back through and tie that on. And when my fingers don't have glue on them and that dries, I can fluff that out a little bit. But there are our 2 paper clips, and yeah, that one's going to come up. It wants to fight with me. All that is, it's not actually a beading, it's just a coiled wire. I may have to come back with. Come on. I am trying to do this without my glasses. That is not helping. There we go. Now we can see what we're doing here. Now it comes out. Brand new bottle of glue didn't want to come out, and then it came out all at once. But you can see that wire uncoiling there. And I'm just going to try and work it around to where it wants to lay down, whether it wants to or not. And we're just going to sit there and hold that for a minute. But that will give us our 3 book page elements as soon as I'm no longer coated in glue. I'd have sworn I put that little, there it is, there's that little finger holder. The glue will not stick to this. I get these 2 to a package at Dollar Tree. They're from Crafter Square. I did find out something with Dollar Tree this morning. If you go to dollartree.com and are interested in products, what you need to do is go in and, like if you go to the Crafter Square line, there will be a place where you can put in your zip code and they will tell you whether or not there is a store near you that is carrying that product. Did not know that before this morning. Now there's a little bit of where it's stuck to that book page. So you might want to try that if you're having trouble finding Crafter Square items. Try going in and putting your zip code in and seeing what is near you. I really like these cords that came away from that embroidery. We're going to put those to use. Okay. Get my finger out of there. Put my lid on my glue. So there we have our book page items. We have, I'm going to use this one because it's prettier. We have our hidden paper clip. We have a bookmark. And we have our embellishments for tucks and pockets. Or just the corner of a page all by itself. That is it for today. I will be back tomorrow with Shout Out Saturday. I'm recording this on Wednesday and I'm almost finished with my database so that I will know what names I need to put in the drawings and know who is. It'll make it easier for when I put your name in the drawing on Saturday. It will be easier when I draw to be able to go back and check to see if you are actually a subscriber. So finishing that up today or tomorrow, so it will be ready for Shout Out Saturday. And nobody faint, but Sunday's Stampin' Up Sunday is already scheduled and ready to roll out Sunday morning. I'm really trying, guys. Hang in there with me. Remember to check out Maria's Miscellany down, her link is down below. Also, there's still plenty of time. We're only 15 days in to the Dear Julie's July Just Junk Journal Challenge. Plenty of time for you to come play with us. I usually don't work on my journal till 2 days before the deadline, and here I am before the 15th, and I've got 2 elements done already. We're making progress. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Please try to stay cool and creative. Blessings.